Okay, how's it going? It is Peter with Optimize to Convert here. This video is going to be about just some different ways to approach Facebook campaigns and just starting a Facebook campaign. Now, I want to preface this video by saying that there are many ways to run Facebook ads. So this is just one strategy, and in fact, it's just only one out of multiple strategies that we have right now. So I think the mistake some people make is they hear someone talking about a Facebook strategy and they say, oh, because they taught it, that's the only thing that works, and then they kind of forget that there's many ways to skin the cat in a sense. So I'm going to talk about a strategy today that is a simple strategy, but it makes a lot of sense for just starting a campaign from scratch that you've maybe never started before. And the strategy, I'm going to name the strategy creatives, audiences, creatives, and I'll tell you kind of how I came up with that name and kind of why it makes sense. Now, avoid all this spelling error thing. The Word document seems to just not really like the word creatives, but I am going to illustrate what I'm saying with some typing at the same time. So here's the strategy. Let's say you have a brand new campaign, and I think this is going to work best for anything, but let's just use the example. Let's say you have a $20 lead gen offer, and let's say it's car loans, just as an example. And let's say that you heard that it's a good offer and you've never run it before, and you want to try it for the first time. This is a basic strategy to help you get the test up and running. So here's what you do. Step one is you basically pick any audience that you think makes sense off the bat, just one audience. So pick any audience that you think makes the most sense. So broad, maybe an age group, maybe an interest, maybe a combination of the two. It really doesn't matter that first. You just have to test something at some point. So step one is to pick an audience that you think makes sense at first, and this could be, like I said, look-alike. It could even be, it could be, honestly, it could be whatever you think makes the most sense. Now, what you think makes the most sense might not always be the best, so that's why we kind of loop back to this in phase 3. So step one is to pick an audience that you think makes the most sense, and you're going to structure your Facebook campaigns like this. So inside your Facebook account, you're going to have one campaign, and inside of that campaign, you're going to have one ad set with this one audience structure. And when I say audience structure, you can kind of pick whatever audience you want at first. Again, it could be a lookalike, it could be an interest, it could be broad, it could be age targeting, it could be a combination of interests, it could be interested in this who's also interested in this. It could kind of be whatever you think maybe would make the most sense. And to just keep it simple, you could have one Facebook ad campaign at the campaign level, this one ad set inside of that campaign, and then what you're going to do is you're going to put 3 completely different Facebook ads inside of that ad set. And when I say completely different, I mean completely different images, completely different headlines, completely different copy, because the point of this technique is to do creatives, audiences, and then creatives. So if you see what we're doing in phase 1, in phase 1, what's really occurring in phase 1 is you're not so much testing audiences. What's really happening in phase 1 is you're mostly just leveraging the fact that you are just choosing one audience to really test these 3 Facebook ads. So that's what's really occurring in phase 1. In phase 1, you're not really testing that audience. You're just kind of picking an audience that seems to make the most sense for you, for the single purpose of right off the bat completely testing just some different Facebook ads. So now let's go into phase 2. So phase 1 is to have just a simple structure of one campaign, one ad set, pick an audience that seems to make sense for you, and then stick 3 completely different Facebook ads in it, and perhaps set the budget at maybe set the budget at like $100 per day or something. Unless you're very confident in the product or offer you're promoting, you should probably start off with a budget of about $100 to $150 per day. If you are seeing good results almost instantly, you could raise this testing to $250 or more a day if you start to see some promising results right away and you're not losing too much money. But if you are unsure about the offer and it's a brand new campaign, I would test with a minimum of $100 a day. I think if you're testing with any less than about $100 a day, it's just going to take too long to get your testing done. So in step 1, like I said, you had the one campaign, you had that one ad set, and the audience structure in that ad set is whatever you want. And then you're putting 3 ads into that ad set. So with this, and once you start spending, let's say you start spending $100 a day, what this is going to do is after like 5 or 6 days, or even after 4 days, you're going to know extremely clearly what the winner is out of these 3 ads. Because if you look at what we're doing, we basically just made only one audience for the sole purpose of really forcing Facebook to test these 3 ads. You start spending $100 a day. After like 4 or 5 days, you're going to clearly know based off your Facebook conversion pixel. You're going to have Facebook pixel set up, or else you are not going to really know which ad is better than any other ad at getting conversions. So you have to have your Facebook pixel set up for conversions, most likely. And after spending $100 a day for like 4 or 5 days, you're going to clearly know out of these 3 completely different ads which ad is the winner. And we will put the winner in green because it's our money maker so far. Now, it might not actually be making you money, but it's at least better than the other 2. Let's move on to phase 2. So the title of this strategy again is Creatives, Audiences, Creatives. So this is phase 1. Phase 1, remember, creatives, audiences, creatives. So phase 1 is really all about creatives in a sense. That's why it's called Creatives, Audiences, Creatives. Because phase 1, you're just forcing this one audience only to run. You're testing these 3 different ads. And if you want to spend more, you can test more. So let's say you're a little bolder and you want to test at $200 a day. This could be like 3 to 6 completely different ads. If you just have a bigger budget and you are more confident in your offer or something, there's no set rule that says this has to even be 3 ads at the ad level. If you want to spend more, you can even rotate like 6 at the ad level. And after, again, like 5 or 6 or 7 days, you are going to know from your Facebook conversion pixel which is the winning creative or the better creative out of this batch. Now we move on to phase 2. So at the end of phase 1, and phase 1 should really only take like 4 to 6 days if you're spending at least $100 a day and you're only testing about 3 to 6 ads at that ad set level. Depending on I guess what the cost of your product is. If you're trying to sell something higher ticket, this could take quite longer than 4 to 6 days. But if you're just doing a little lead gen, it's like $20, $30, $10. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to complete phase 1 within 7 days, maybe the longest. Now, phase 2 is assuming that you found a clear winner from phase 1. So what you're going to do in phase 2 is all about audiences. So what you're going to do is you're going to hopefully have found a winning or better, I don't even want to say winning because there's probably even better ads that you can find, but is the winner out of the first round. So I'm assuming by phase 2 you've identified and you don't want to identify, you just want to identify one. The point by phase 2 you're going to have identified one winning ad from phase 1. And then what you're going to do is phase 2 is all about audiences. So let's say you're spending at this point, well, let's say that you're a little bit more confident in your campaign and you're going to start spending, let's say, $200 per day because you found, I'll even emphasize one, you kind of want one winner. So let's say out of phase 1 testing you did find one winning creative, and that's giving you a little bit of confidence to test at a higher level. So by the time phase 2 comes, let's say you're spending $200 a day. Phase 2 is all about audiences. So what you're going to do in phase 2 is you're going to do a campaign structure on Facebook that is something like this. You could actually, you don't even need to create a separate campaign. You could just still have the campaign from before. But then what you're going to do is you're going to do a bunch of audience testing. And you test audiences, obviously, at the ad set level. That's how Facebook is set up. So on phase 2, you're going to have a lot. And you can do it like this. Check it out. Let's say you want to spend $200 a day. You can do like 10 audiences. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now, the reason why this strategy is beneficial is because you've kind of used phase 1 to identify at least one winner out of these ads that we're rotating at the ad level. And what you're going to do is phase 2 is all about audiences. So in ad set 1, you're going to do different audiences. Okay. You see how this works? In ad set 2, it's going to be different audiences. So see how you're spending $200 a day? Then what you do is you do massive audience testing. Check this out. You literally just spend, you can just spend like $10 a day. Again, if your stats are actually starting to look decent, you're getting more confident in what you're promoting. No one says you have to do 200 a day. I mean, this could be bumped up to even 350 a day or more, but I'm using 200 a day as an example. Each one of these ad sets is a different audience. And I'll give you suggestions for the audiences too. I don't even know if I'm going to spend the time doing all of this writing here because you kind of get the point. But every single one of these ad sets is testing a different audience. And there's 10 of them here. And if you want to spend $200 a day, you can actually test 10 audiences at $20 a day. Because if you multiply the 10 audiences times $20 a day, it equals a total budget of $200 per day. And then you're wondering what ad to use. You do a very logical thing. You use your winning ad from phase 1, because then you're working with something that is a little bit more proven than shooting in the dark. And this just helps you to conserve your budget better, because that's the whole point of phase 1. The whole point of phase 1 is to only use one audience of whatever you're choosing is, to test about 3 to 6 ads at the ad level to come out with a winner. Think of this as a almost like a video game or a ATM machine or something, right? It's like you kind of put in the penny, and then these 3 to 6 are rotating, and then after a week you find a winner. Then you move on to phase 2. In phase 2, you do 10 ad sets, and each ad set has a different audience. You put every single one of these ad sets at $20 a day, so all together it equals around $200 a day. And then the ad that's actually running at all these ad set levels is the actual winner that got churned out from phase 1 testing. So you're kind of at least testing audiences now with an ad that is at least better than the 3 to 6 you originally tested. That's just going to help preserve budget. So the ad that you're actually rotating at this point is the winner, from phase 1, and then the audiences, you really want to test like a wide variety of audiences. I'll give some audience suggestions here. You really want to try a lot of different things. So we'll just say maybe the first audience is broad, and broad is kind of all genders, and then it's just 18 to 65 plus. This is kind of how that's how I'm defining broad. And then maybe audience 2 is a 1% lookalike. Maybe audience 3 is like 1 interest. Audience 4 is a 2nd interest. This one is like a 3rd interest. And then you can see what I'm doing here. We're kind of doing massive audience testing. And ad set 6 here, what would I do? Maybe a lookalike of a different number. Okay, let me see here. I'm just we can do something like a 5% lookalike. So the point of phase 2 is to just take the winning ad that got churned out from phase 1 testing and set that ad as the control, just one of them, just one ad as the control at the ad level. But then you test all these different ad sets with different audiences, because then after about a week to a week and a half of this, you're going to actually figure out what your top like 1 to 3 audiences are. And I'll give more audience suggestions. Maybe ad set 7 has a little bit of inclusion, or I'll call it narrow, because that's what Facebook calls it, narrow audience. So narrow audience is when you do one interest that also includes interest. So it's, for example, I'll do an example. It's like people who are interested in pets, that are also interested in Walmart or something. This is just an example. But in the narrow audience, you go to Facebook and you right under where it says interest, you click on include, and you kind of force Facebook to narrow down your audience a little bit. So I would test a little bit of that. Now on ad set 8, maybe we do a little bit of age stuff. So maybe we do like ages, maybe 20 to 35. We'll just try, and then all genders, and then obviously all USA, or whatever your location is. It doesn't have to be USA if you're promoting something outside the USA, but just keep it. I wouldn't do any state restricting stuff right now. And then you can test a higher age group, like 40 to 65 plus, again all genders. And then maybe ad set 10 is just like an oddball, like all women or something. So, and then if you want to, you could do an ad set 11 like all men. And then if you stretch this to 11 ad sets, then to spend $200 a day, you would want to adjust all of your ad sets to spend like a little bit less, so all of these combined equal like $200 a day, even if you extended it to 11. Okay, so now what's going to happen is this. You spend $200 a day for like a week and a half. What's going to happen is, since you have the winning ad from phase 1 as the only ad in each of these ad sets, it's kind of set there as a control. And after about a week or a week and a half, you're just going to see that 2 or 3 of these interests are better than others. So let's just say, for example, like this is the cheapest. Let's just pretend this is the cheapest. And let's just pretend like this is the second cheapest. And let's just pretend this is the third cheapest. Phase 3 is more creative testing. So now what you do in phase 3 is you basically take everything that's been built out so far from phase 2, but you only run the top 3 or so audiences. So you would basically pause these. I'm just going to delete them. Don't delete them in your Facebook account. In your Facebook account, just pause them. But I'm deleting them just for removing clutter on this Word doc. But that's just, yeah, don't delete stuff. You want to keep your stats. So pause. Maybe there's something more suitable for this. I'm gonna do a strikeout in Microsoft Word. Strikeout just symbolizes that I would pause. See what I'm doing? So in phase 3 is about testing creatives. So what I'm going to do in phase 3 is I'm going to pause. When I do a strikeout, that just means I would be pausing it in Facebook. So in phase 3, I would do more creative testing. So what are we actually left with in phase 3? It's pretty obvious. What we're left with in phase 3 is we're left with a bunch of audiences that got paused. Perhaps. Again, I mean, maybe like 5 out of 10 of the audiences are good for you, right? But I'm just assuming that in this example, maybe 3 of these audiences are really good. So what you're left with in phase 3 is you're left with like 3 pretty great audiences. And then because you weren't testing really any ads in phase 2, but you were just taking a winning ad from phase 1, what you're left with here is you're now left with, well, you're left with the 3 best audiences that you found, and then there is this winning ad still at the ad level from phase 1. So now the last phase is creatives again, because remember the strategy is creatives, audiences, creatives, and now you can see why this naming makes sense, because at first we were testing for creatives, right? Because we just used one audience and then we really rotated a lot of ads. So phase 1 is the creatives, phase 2 is massive audience testing, and then phase 3 you go back to testing creatives, audiences, creatives. So now we're at phase 3. So here's what we're going to do. We now have these 3 audiences. Let's just pretend that these are the ones that are still running. Now what you can do is, now you can just test more ads. So second ad, third ad, fourth ad. See what I'm doing here? And then you kind of get the gist. This is just a very kind of method-based way to approach this. And you see why this makes sense logically, because on step 1 you're just starting with only one audience, so it forces Facebook to really test those ads nicely for you. You do churn out you just churn out a winner, and it doesn't even matter if it's a close tie, just pick the winner. And then in phase 2 you take that winner and make the winner the ad in all of this audience testing, and you spend like a little bit, like you literally have like 10 audiences going, you spend like $18 a day on like all these things. After a week or something, or a week and a half, you're going to identify which audience is the best. That lands you to phase 3. Let's just pretend that these audiences are the best. Then you now have a campaign with these 3 winning audiences going, and then what you do is you just test a lot of ads at the ad level there, and then you end up pausing bad ads and keeping good ads. And then let's just pretend that like this ad is a winner. You end up pausing. Strikeout for me resembles pause. Okay, so as time goes by, see how the title of the strategy is creatives, audiences, creatives. As time goes by in this phase 3, you now have these winning audiences. And again, all men, these are completely example audiences, so don't think that these are like the secret audiences or something. I literally just made up these audiences for the sake of showing the example. Like this is more of a structure. This is more like campaign structuring, but this isn't like, these aren't necessarily like the worst or best audiences in the world. These are just example audiences. But let's just say these 3 were your winners. You now have a campaign that has these 3 winning audiences, and then you're then able to add a lot more ads, testing at the ad level. You're going to pause bad ads and keep good ads. And then I don't know why that's not. Oh, there we go. So let's just say that this ad is, let's just say that this third ad or something ends up being the winner there, and then let's just say this ad ends up being the winner there. You could eventually just pause. You see what's happening here is, let's say this is the winner there, this is the winner there, and then so a lot of times I've seen a pretty common theme in ads like over time too. So I wouldn't be surprised if your structure ends up looking like this, and you kind of notice that the same ad is kind of winning in multiple places. And by this point, if you're this is just kind of a structural way to do it. Now, this all boils down to offers, though. I'm going to write this down. This all boils down to offers. The reason why this all boils down to offers is, however clever this strategy is, or however kind of scientific this strategy is, and however logical this strategy is, if your offer sucks, this is not going to work. Let's just say you're running a car loan offer. We all know that a good car loan offer should get at least $1 to $2 or higher earning per click, EPC metric. A good car loan offer should get at least $1 to $2 EPC. So let's say you're trying to do this whole thing, but you just have like a very terrible offer that is only getting you like a 42-cent EPC. It's just not, it's probably not going to work, not because of this strategy, just because the offer sucks. So this entire strategy is contingent on the fact that you have good offers. So make sure you're partnering with networks that have good offers, and you got to have good offers, because it's just, if the offer's bad, it just like doesn't work. But if the offer's good, and it all kind of boils down to offers, because the better the offer is, the easier you're going to profit. I mean, sometimes I've just gotten a good offer and given it to my team, and sometimes they've profited just because the offer's good. Like, they've made like terrible ads but made money anyway. It really all boils down to the offer, and that's why I'm so focused on offers these days myself. At this point of time, and obviously things could change in the future, but at this point in time, my brother Tyler and the rest of the team are really focused on running the Facebook ads, but I'm very focused right now on getting offers, because I know that if I can get the team good offers, then they're going to make money. If I get the team bad offers, then they might not make money. So it kind of all boils down to offers. Like I said, there's literally been circumstances where I've landed really good offers and we've been profitable from day one just because the offer's good. There's been times where I've had terrible media buyers. I've had terrible media buyers able to profit just because I got a good offer. Literally, it kind of all boils down to the offer. And if you have a good offer, you like might not even need to even follow this strategy. Like, if you have a good offer, you might just be profitable in phase 1. And then phase 2, audience testing, and phase 3, more creative testing, could just be icing on the cake. So it kind of all boils down to offers. So my recommendation for you is to be looking for good offers and just making sure that you are signed up with networks that have good offers and are kind of offering you good service in that area, in that realm and stuff. Because it all boils down to offers. You could be the best media buyer and you could have all the strategies and you could attend like all the conferences, but if you're just sitting on like 10 bad offers, you might not make money. So it all boils down to offers. So just remember that, and remember, once you do have a good offer, the better the offer, the easier it's going to be to profit. So again, if the offer is just spectacular, I wouldn't be surprised if you're just like profitable, just like kind of messing around in like phase 1. But then as you do these phases, it is optimizing your campaign. So phase 1 is testing to find at least one winning ad. Then phase 2 is testing kind of massive audience stuff. Hopefully you're just now, if your campaign is not really showing signs of good profits, by kind of halfway or 3/4 of the way into phase 2, I'm not sure you even want to continue on to phase 3 because it just might be a losing battle. Chances are your offer sucks. Honestly, the offer is probably just bad. So you kind of want to keep an eye on this because you don't want to blow all this money on testing in phase 1 and 2 and 3 if the offer's just bad and it's not going to work anyway just because of the offer. So just keep an eye on this. If you have a good offer should at least be starting to break even in the middle of phase 2 or something. And that's kind of a rule of thumb right now. So I hope these tips helped. If you have any questions, feel free to, you can ask them in our group. We have a Facebook group called Affiliates Ask Anything. It's a Facebook group that my brother Tyler and I are the admins on. We own the group. We started the group, very fast growing group. We got about 2,000 people in the group within the first month or two. And it's obviously been growing ever since. But if you have questions, ask them in the group. There's a lot of people in the group that can help you answer your questions. And then occasionally my brother and I have stepped in and answered questions personally as well. So ask your questions in the group. Follow us on YouTube. If you're not a YouTube subscriber, you should subscribe to YouTube because when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, YouTube has a way of alerting you via Gmail whenever we post a new YouTube video. And a lot of times people have been able to watch our YouTube videos before they've even hit the group or the blog just because they're subscribers to YouTube. I posted a video the other day on YouTube, and within 5 minutes I had a couple people reaching out saying that was a great video. I was like, how the heck did you even see the video? I mean, I just uploaded it to YouTube. But I think because they were subscribers, YouTube kind of pings their Gmail kind of the second we upload something to the channel. So definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel through your Gmail so you get these things when they're hot off the press, these videos. And again, if you have any questions, ask in the group. And you could also sign up for our email list. The best way to sign up for our email list is you have to visit our blog, optimize2convert.com, and then you probably need to like clear your cookies, and then just visit any page on our blog and there'll be a big pop-up, and that pop-up says something like, do you want to earn $1,000 a day, or something like that, or are you earning $1,000 a day? And you put in your name and email. That's how you get on our email list. But if you're not seeing the pop-up, you probably need to clear your cookies because I only serve that pop-up like the first couple times someone visits our site. I don't want it to be annoying for people. So that's how you can get on the email list. And anyway, guys, I hope this provides great value, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day, and we'll talk soon.